I even read it.
Sam, did you pay your Cox bill?
Yeah.
Do what?
Did you pay your Cox bill?
Whatever bill it is.
Uh-oh, that could be it.
I don't know. I think they're checking. Okay, I'll be here. She knows what I'm talking about.
I guess we're ready to get started. Everybody ready?
We are, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's 7:30.
Ready to go? Let's do it then. Good morning, everyone. Hit your gavel. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody? Good? Welcome to our, I guess this is our October meeting. I mistakenly said it was October last month. We're,
Just a man ahead of your time.
I am ahead of time a little bit. Some of you received the consent agenda with regards to the agenda that we have today. You should have received minutes and financial income statements. Sam, do you need to take a minute to take a look at those? Are you good? Okay. Mr. Geyer, you want to take a minute? Did you already look at them? You feel pretty good about it? Lana, I have a question with regards to the budget. I want to know how we are, how you feel we are with regards to the budget for the year, and maybe you could give a quick little, if you have anything that's outstanding or anything that looks like we need to make some adjustments or anything?
No, we really don't have anything that stands out. We do have a couple of invoices out to FCEDC on the partnership for grant salary.
Okay.
So those are submitted quarterly, and they missed us the first one we submitted. So I've reached out to them, and they're making amends on it. So we'll get 2 quarters in one payment likely.
Okay.
But other than that, no, I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for Lana? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda, the previous minutes, and financial income statements.
So move.
It's been moved.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Moves forward. All right, public comments. We have quite a crowd. Lance, Lon, Bob, anybody got any comments you'd like to make this morning? Welcome. Thank you for coming this morning. Appreciate it. Guess we have no public comments, so I guess we'll move on to Miss Lana's report.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, prospect 1023. This is a prospect that reached out to us actually just last week, and we've got them narrowed down to just a couple of sites. We facilitated a conference call yesterday with a utility provider, and we have another one this afternoon with the utility provider. So hopefully we'll be able, they're looking to move pretty quickly, so hopefully we'll be able to get that project through if it fits. We'll find out.
Okay.
823-2, this is a warehousing project. They did settle on a site in the Western Kansas corridor and actually already have some steel on the ground out there as well as a little bit of equipment. So they are working through the site planning process and hoping to get started with construction right away after closing, which should take place in about 30 to 45 days. Commercial project that we've been working with. We do have them, they've signed a notice of intent to purchase on a property already and are working now through details with the landowner on roadways and other infrastructure. So hopefully we'll be able to get that one locked down quickly and be able to announce that one. We do have a commercial business, an existing commercial business who has some additional land by their building, and they've reached out. Steve's worked up a couple of ideas for them on ways they might market their additional land. I didn't list that as a prospect, but certainly we'll continue to work with them too. Housing projects, things are moving, not nearly as quickly as we'd like, obviously, but we do have the first 20 acres out on 156 that's been designed and submitted, so hopefully they'll be able to get started. They were hoping for that project to start yet in 2023. We'll see if they're going to be able to do that or not. And then Randall Estates, Steve will give a little more detail on that, but infrastructure is getting underway on that project, and that's good. Jim's had a lot of folks reach out to him looking for those larger lots, so hopefully he'll be able to get that infrastructure in and get those lots moved quickly. I don't know, Sligo Station, we've got construction manager at risk interviews that are scheduled for late this month and early November, so hopefully we'll be able to get a construction manager chosen for that project and get it moving along. We've been working with the Kansas Housing Resource Commission on getting the MIH documents in place and the budget where they want it to move forward. In court order, like I said, we have 2 contracts now in process. Both of those should close hopefully within the next couple of months. And Steve's been working on some certified sites and got some things out on Location 1 Information Services, which is the certified sites listings, if you will, for across the country. And we've already gotten some feedback on those, so that's exciting. This month did a lot of stuff with childcare. The Early Childhood Task Force that the governor assigned me to, we met again just last week and have our document and proposal ready for her. So we'll be presenting that to her. It looks like middle of December. We'll present it to the governor, and then she'll determine whether or not that's what she wants to take forward to the legislature. But it would be a complete overhaul of our early childhood systems in Kansas. So I'm hopeful that we'll at least get some of it adopted. Any part of it would be helpful, but I feel like the task force did good work, and what we've come up with would be a huge step up and maybe take us out of 49th place as a state in how we deal with early childhood. So let's hope. Also on early childhood, we got our license on Friday. So there's a process you go through now. You get the license that allows you to open, and then they come back and actually give you your permanent license. But we have the license that allows us to open. So the board has decided we're going to do an open house next week for the community. So y'all will be getting an invitation to that. So you can go in and see the facility, and families can go and visit with their kids and so forth. So we're very excited to have that finally underway. It's the Garden Academy Early Learning Center. Lots of meetings, lots of stuff that we worked on this month. We've been helping Downtown Vision with a market project that they're working on, and Janet's been out with some health issues, so Leandro, her assistant, has been doing a tremendous job of keeping the ball moving forward, but we'll continue to help them out as much as we can until Janet's back up and in the office. And things going on this month, the Department of Ag is sending out a gentleman to visit with us about some of the agricultural businesses we have out here and ways we might be able to strengthen them or provide support to them through the State Department of Agriculture. We've got the corridor walkthrough tomorrow where the county will go through and determine if the infrastructure was built to their standards and allow them to accept that. And then, excuse me, and then Canamac Hydraulics, I sent you all, did you get that, Sam? Good. I sent you all the invitation from them. Very cool that they're going to celebrate being in business. They're a cool company. So that'll be November 7th, and hopefully you guys will be able to make it to that. They'd love to have you there. And happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Long?
What's going on?
notice over there on Taylor, the building that used to be, not Machine Supply, but the Lee's added on to the back end of that building, what's going in there?
And the company that is located there, the electric company?
Kansas Food Bank.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, on Taylor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Taylor's, yes, Kansas Food Bank.
gonna be what?
Kansas Food Bank, they got a significant grant to allow them to build a distribution center out here. We've been working with it for probably, what, 2.5 years?
Well, they work with unloading dock, I said, we were just, somebody asked me the other day, I said, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Very cool project.
Where are they at as far as construction work, do you know?
It's,
Coming right along.
it's getting pretty close,
Is it?
yeah.
I see they hired a administrator or whatever for the camp, or not, what is her? Who's the director? Who did they hire the director for already?
I will tell you too, the county commission had asked if we could arrange for a tour of the Empirical Foods plant.
Yes.
So I did reach out to them, and Jen Letch, who's one of the owners, asked that we wait until March. They've got a lot of equipment that will be constructed on site, and she said it would be best if we could wait until March on their timeline. It'll be a lot more put together by then. So I will follow up with her in February, and it's good, bless you guys, but that should be a fun tour. I think you guys will like to see what they've got there.
Any other questions for Lon? Thank you for the report, Lon, appreciate it. Mr. Steve, you're up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, for all the grumpy people in the world like me, this is National Sourest Day.
You have some lemons for breakfast?
No, that's why I'm sour. Or it's National Chucky, the notorious killer doll days. We go from
National Chuck.
grumpy to, yeah.
Is that right,
Okay.
Chucky?
Yeah, Chucky's the killer. Okay, as Lana said, I got the Western Kansas corridor and the city's industrial park property just east of the old ConAgra site in TP&L listed on Lois, and the very next day, the phone started ringing, so. And then we did send a site in the city's property to a prospect, waiting back to hear from them. Yeah, the Western Kansas corridor, 2.5 acre tract, require a parcel plat. As Lana mentioned, we have a little distribution center going on, and the Maverick Convenience Store and Fuel Center civil site plan is up for review, first review at 9 o'clock this morning. So, progress moving there. They'll close before the end of the year on that property. County actually got a bid on their lift station on October 10th. Commission takes action on the 6th, I believe. Randall Estates pre-construction meeting was on October 5th. Wheatland will be the first one on the site. They want to get in before the road work gets going because they've got to cross the roadways in several places to get services. Where conduits extended for service across to the far side of the road. And then road work probably in a few weeks. Then, as Lana mentioned, we've been having a lot of meetings on the Sligo Station project. We have a weekly what's going on meeting in the early stages, pre-construction stages. Architect and owner's representatives on there, as well as our staff. I reported last month that the city commission was going to acquire the balance of the Lost River development. That fell through. But there has been other parties that acquired that. Maybe able to tell you who that is here next month. Worked on residential development concepts for areas east of the bypass. Continued working or recreating after my tragic computer crash. The great crash of 23. And then I did work on a little multifamily tract for a property owner. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. That's the highlights of my month
Are all of the utilities in at Western Kansas corridor?
for the first phase.
Okay. So that phase where the where the metal bin is they all in there?
Yes.
That's,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we can only sell in that.
That property is actually in the third edition, but it's on the north side of Phase 1 street, so everything is
It's
right
there.
in front of it.
Okay.
And naturally, everything for Maverick is in place as well. So, as soon as they get permits and start rolling.
Yeah, because I think they were on Sunday unloading iron, I think, or,
Yeah.
for the.
Yeah, they called Lana one night and said, can you mark site out a little bit, because I got a truckload of stuff heading your way right now.
So let's hope I'm a good measurer because
Hopefully it's on their lot.
It's
It looks
close.
like it. It
It's
looks like it.
It's close.
Any questions for Steve? All right, thank you, Steve. Mr. Scott, you are next with communications.
All righty. Had a little snafu, so my report couldn't get printed out,
Okay?
or it did, or it just vanished into the ether. So I'll be reading off my phone. Let's see, the past month we had about 2,400 visits to the website. Most viewed posts were about the Crystal Apple finalists. Fenton County Museum's True Crime exhibit was featured in the state tourism map. There was a post about walk-ons opening and about walk to school day. On Facebook, we had about 1,400 post reach, which is the number who saw a post. 775 post engagements, which was the number who interacted with those posts. And top posts were the Garden City Meats team doing well at the Beef Empire Days contest, meat judging contest. Walk-ons, the airport posted some terminal photos and a post about the Garden City High School volleyball winning the sub-state championship. On Twitter, X, whatever, we had 985 impressions, which is whoever saw whatever. Top tweets for the meat judging team, flyer for the high school drama production of The Alibis, and Garden City Community College alumni spotlight on Baron. I don't know his last. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Lechvik. Anyway, an alumni spotlight, and that's the report.
Questions for Scott? Okay. Notice we were down on the tweet impressions. Is there, just because there's no,
I don't know, I think they're doing something different or messing with stuff so that it's really not apparent how the impressions are working. They're just kind of in flux now, I think, with Elon Musk's fiddling with it.
crap going on?
Yeah, we went through this with Facebook when they changed all the algorithms too, so.
Okay.
They just want to make sure there's a job for all the experts who figure out how it's working now, I guess.
Anything else? Thank you, Scott. Mr. Grant, you're up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
had some successes this month. We had 2 clients that got awarded their funding. Mandela Events, which is going to be an event center primarily for wedding events. They were awarded funds from the Patterson Grant as well as an e-community loan. And then we have New Image Realty, started their business and was awarded the e-community loan, and they had a ribbon cutting yesterday. And I have 05232 service client is struggling to find job sourcing, and we're looking to see what resources and contacts we can get that client to determine if their business will be needed. And then we have 08231 restaurant. The client didn't finish their business plan and talked to their bank ahead of schedule and was denied a bank loan. So we're scheduled to meet soon to continue finishing their business plan. 09232 service. Followed up with the client, they're still working on their business plan. 0294 retail. This client fully completed their business plan and financial spreadsheet, and they're well and ready for funding, but they were more interested in looking at grants, which may not be applicable for them. So we're waiting to hear back from that client to see if they're wanting to go with a loan. And then we have a new client, 10231. We are waiting to have an initial meeting this week with them. And current number of clients that I have under the FCEDC account is now 26. And then I have a nice flyer on the back here for upcoming events, workshops through FCEDC. One I'd like to highlight is on November 6th. I will be participating in that and giving a presentation on how to write a business plan, and that will be held at the FinUp Center. And that's what I have.
Have you had any interest? Have you had anybody?
I've sent some information out. I haven't had anyone actually say anything yet. If we don't have a huge turnout, it is in person, so if there isn't a huge turnout, it will switch to virtual.
Okay. Can you elaborate on the Mandel events, where they'll be located at, or any of that kind of stuff?
I don't have the exact address. It's off of Mary Street,
Okay.
west of town.
Pretty good size location.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. They're waiting to get a renovation finished on sprinklers
Okay.
before they can open up.
Okay. All righty. Any other questions? For Grant?
Thank you.
Good job, Grant.
Appreciate it.
Keep them coming. All right, Shannon had to step out for a moment. Get him back here pretty quick. Oh, we got it. Mr. Shannon, you're up.
All right, and I'm hearing that this mic is not working right now, so I'm going to use this mic.
Okay.
All right, so good morning.
Good morning.
So what I've been looking at recently is we're diving into the ID scoring system a little bit. We went through the ID process. I don't remember what that meeting was. It was more than a month ago by now. But if you went, it was well turned out. We had a good, the whole room at the Clarion was full, was standing room only around the outside. So really good turnout, probably about 150 people that came to it. So now I'm starting to look at getting into some of we had the first results that we looked at during the meeting, and just starting to piece together some of the stuff, and there's some good things, which is that they're doing these meetings. There's some bad things, which is the scoring system. So let's go ahead and take a look, and some of this we've seen before. Remember, the first thing that I really don't like about the way that they present their data is the colors that they use in their maps. It's really hard to tell what that is. I mean, this is supposed to be a map of the traffic using different colors to show you how much traffic there is, and it's just random colors. So the first thing that I did is to go and we changed it to a dark, and then you definitely get a better idea about what's going on with the traffic. You definitely see 83, which you couldn't see before at all. But you see 83, even 83 coming out north of the interstate on I-70. But you see the flow of 54 and all these other things. So that's the first step. The next thing that I did is label each of these locations with the congestion number. And that congestion number, remember, is a combination of traffic, but then also there's an additional component of truck traffic. So we did, and remember 3 or 4 years ago when we talked about this, where we had that line that said, where does it look like we divide highways in Kansas? And that is usually when you have traffic plus 3 times truck traffic. If that's over 9,000, that's typically where we divided highways in the past. So all those little numbers are that count for those regions, and most of those places that I looked are either they're projects that came up in the IKE scoring system. So I went through all the scoring system, or all the scoring districts, the sheets, and labeled all those. If they're rectangles, that means they already have been divided, and I'm giving us credit, giving KDOT credit for dividing out like already by Dodge. So I'm already counting the Highway 400 by Dodge City is already being divided. But you can see like in that area, we got 11,000 congestion there. What's important to note is some of those projects that you hear as reasons why we can't do 83 or we can't do 54 is because, well, we're working on other projects, and I'm sorry for people listening. So we have these things. I mean, if you want to hear well, come to the meeting in person. So we have this thing where we have 169, we have 69, and then the northwest passage out of Great Bend to go up to Hayes. You can see the overall traffic in these areas. Congestion, you got 9,000 here, but this isn't over 9,000. This stuff isn't over 9,000. This stuff isn't over 9,000. So there's a lot of excuses why it's really hard for them to divide highways out this way. But if we start looking at these numbers, there really is a reason to be looking at our numbers, because I mean, our numbers are pretty actually going out north of Topeka too. That's one that they're looking at dividing. So right north of Topeka is really congested. But as you go up, 9,000, 8,000, 6,000, testing if you need glasses or not as well.
Right.
We can get you an appointment set up. Just let me know. So this is a good map. The next thing that I did, and this is new for this year, is talking about what's the 5-year change in traffic. And I color-coded this one to make it a little bit easier. If it's red, it's down. If it's green, it's up. And you can definitely see there's some patterns here. So now if we look at 2 of these things together, like not only what is the congestion, but how has it been changing? Now we really get a good picture together of where maybe they should be focusing on dividing some highways. I would suggest an area with a lot of green. So that's really interesting. And I mean, we have some pieces of highway, especially like 83 north of I-70. There really is starting to be, if you go look 5 years ago, there really wasn't much traffic at all up there going north out of that Colby-Oakley area. Now it's starting to pick up some traffic. So when we talked about that whole route between North Platte and Amarillo, connecting those 2 interstates along 83, they're starting to get some organic growth already in that kind of route. So it's really interesting. So we have that. So the next thing we have, this is parts of the project score sheet. So this is everybody broke in when we did the IKE scoring system thing, the consultation, local consults. We broke it down all these little groups, and they gave us a sheet, and this is basically the important piece of that sheet. And I have 2 pieces here. So District 6 is our district, and then I included parts of District 5. But this is the kinds of things that they were looking at. So they say what the project name is, number, length, how much it's going to cost, estimation, and then our scores, low, medium, and high of congestion, value of freight, safety, a combined score, and then the black box is that economic thing. So remember, they have that black box thing still in there, which is the, what are they called, GRP by cost, travel and benefit by cost, and then a score. And then a spot where they put our local console score, and then some other notes. Okay, so one thing we're going to talk about, last time, if we get to the next slide, last time one of the big issues that we had was trucks. And the problem that we had with their scoring system with trucks is if you had 750 trucks a day on the route, that was going to score maximum points. You got high points. You couldn't score more. We were doing 1,400, 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 trucks a day. So we were way past high. I mean, we were we were maxed out. So we really said, hey, you might want to think about this again because it's really missing trucking out in western Kansas because the amount of trucks that we have is way more than you have out in eastern Kansas for the most part. So they said, okay, well, we'll listen to you. We're going to make this new thing called value of freight in their engineering factors. And so what they do now, instead of including trucks straight up, they do this value of freight. It's taken from a measures collected in the development of KDOT's freight plan, considers proximity to freight generating businesses, the amount of freight coming and going from these locations, and the priority of corridor on the state's freight network. Sounds good. Let's see how it went. Well, so we would say, well, what's the value of freight and what's the value of trucking and all that stuff? So this is a map again. This is the same thing as before, where we said, what's the value of a unit of traffic to Kansas GDP? So we're just looking at the GDP per county and looking at the traffic generated and saying, how much value is there per piece of traffic to GDP? You would hope that it looks something similar to this. Let's go look at 2 examples. This is why I included District 5 in here as well. So District 6, we have Project 262. This is US 83, Scott City north to K4. So this is going from Scott City up to where K4 kind of splits off north of town there. Their value of freight is low. And they have almost 2,000 trucks a day, which is way up, but 2,000 trucks a day. Last time that was scored full points. Let's go look at US 50. Go in Reno County. This is going into Hutchinson. They have 1,300 trucks a day, almost 1,400 trucks a day. They scored high. So bad news. We used to have been on the old scoring system. Both of those would have scored high, maximum points, because there's over 750 trucks a day. Now with this new thing where we're looking at proximity to freight generation and other things, now one of the most densely trucked route that isn't an interstate in town or in the state is low value of freight. And we also know that this isn't passed through because there's not 2,000 trucks that are passing through to go up to the interstate or anything like that, especially because if you look at the sections above it, we don't have nearly many trucks. So these trucks are being generated locally. The question is, how are they saying what the value of freight is? How are they just determining proximity to freight generation? Because I'm pretty sure most of the fields are generating trucks and feedlots and dairies and stuff like that. So are they giving credit to that, or are they only giving credit to things like Tyson and DFA and things like that? So we got some work to do there. The other thing, and this is just, there's a lot of things, and we brought this up last time as well, but when we're looking at these black box factors, one, we don't really, it seems like they measure how close are you to a city. The bigger the city, the more points you get. It doesn't really matter what else is going on inside of there. But the other thing is, when we look at that, we need to remember that they're taking your GDP, your GRP effect, and dividing it by cost of project, and traveler benefit, dividing it by cost. So if you have high costs of projects, you're going to score lower in the cost per benefit per cost, right? So the thing that we really need to think about in our projects, in our districts, is how do those costs shake out? And we talked about this last time. If we look at each of the different projects, so they're making arbitrary length, they as in KDOT, makes arbitrary length projects. They say it's gonna go from here to somewhere. In eastern Kansas, there's a lot of here's to somewhere, here to somewhere, here to somewhere. Here we have a lot of here to far away somewhere because there's just more natural breaks in road systems in eastern Kansas because you have more other roads and cities and all that stuff. So where does this really affect us? Well, look at the average project length that we have. We have in different districts, so our district number 1 through 6, and then northeast, north central, northwest. And what those lengths are, I will say in north central, they have only a couple of ones, and they are a couple of shoulder ones. So they're long stretches, but they're shoulders. Northwest, District 3 actually didn't even have a project last time. The project that they have this time is working on 83 north of the interstate, but they put that all into one huge project. And then in ours, we have a lot of projects. I think we have the most number of projects. On average, though, they're 16 and a half miles each. So we have long projects, especially if we compare to like northeast, south central, southeast. Our projects are long. Not only that,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
Okay, so you go to the first one at 8.8, and it's 73 million.
Yep.
Okay, then you go to Southwest, which is 16.5, that's double the amount. But it's less expensive,
So
right?
there's two different things. One is on these types of projects, there's two major kinds of projects. There's expanding, going from 2 to 4 lanes, and then adding passing lanes. Adding passing lanes, and that's what's really going on with, even if you look at District 3, where you have 68 miles for $100 million, that's only $2 million a mile. That's not very expensive, but that's because it's just a lot of passing lanes. Ours, they have this time through, is expanding, is going from 2 to 4. So ours are about, what is that, 8 million on average? So that's why I included both these, the length, but also the project cost. Because if you're just doing passing lanes like in District 2, where you have 17 miles for 13 million, it's not cheap because it's cheaper to build things there. It's just because the projects that they're looking at are just passing lanes in those. So, but the thing that we need to remember when we're looking at their economic scores is that our projects overall, all these projects are getting divided by cost. And since all of our projects are 1, long, and 2, dividing long, all of our scores are going to be reduced by a bigger number because it's getting divided, each of those is getting divided by cost. So that's something else we need to do. Really, it's a really easy mathematical fix. If they would have just done cost per mile, that would make sense, because if you, so if you have a 5-mile project and a 5-mile project next to each other, they get divided by 5, or whatever, $5 million, say it's $1 million a month. If it's a $10 million project, same project, it would be divided by 10, so it'd get half the score. But if you just divide it by cost per mile, then they're both on the same thing. So this is an artifact of just how you set up your projects. It's not even a reflection of reality of the cost or anything like that. So this is an easy mathematical fix. Hopefully we can get on that and talk about that, because that is unintentionally hurting rural projects, not just ours. Like Jim just putting 68 miles on one project up north. You're never gonna, I mean, that's such a huge span. You're dividing out by a huge number, dividing out by like 100 million when you're talking about other projects that are 20 million for 5 miles. So, okay, I think that's it for me. There's gonna be a lot more, I hope. We're passing this along. We've already wrote up one pretty lengthy thing, sent it up to KDOT and getting some discussion. What we really need to do is get back into the raw data, because having low, medium, high really misses some of the things. Because remember last time we were talking about had missing data, they had incorrect data. There was parts where District 6 was unfairly scaled, where all the other districts got extra points that we didn't get. So it'd really be really good to get into the raw data that they used to make this, instead of just those full, new, and half new stuff. And I believe that's my last slide. Besides just letting you know. Okay. So any questions on?
Yeah, question, how do they figure the cost per load?
The value of the
The
truck.
value of freight?
Value of the freight, yeah.
I don't know. And what I fear is they took our feedback and then went to the black box company and said, hey, we need to get a figure out of value for our freight. And they said, no problem, we already worked on this over at this economic factor. And they just copied what they did over there and put it in their trucks. And we already know that what they did over on the black box stuff they did before, that company just basically looks at your congestion inside the city, which is how they justify just continual and all that work that goes on in Wichita and Kansas City, where they just keep on building, keep on building, keep on building, and then they're like, it's too expensive to do that in rural Kansas. So I'm guessing that's what's there, because they're starting to talk about these freight plans, and what is freight? I mean, does cows count as freight? I mean, does a grain truck count as freight? You would think so, but windmill blade, is that freight? I mean, that's, so what does that freight plan mean? What's a freight generating? That's what I'm saying. When they say they're taking it to proximity of freight generation, I mean, Scott City is by a lot of things that generate trucks. A lot. I mean, that's all it is. It's just acres and acres of things that generate trucks. But they get low score So, what are they, what does that really mean? And can we go back to just, I mean, they're making changes, but they're making changes that aren't mathematically sound changes to me.
Because some time ago, a while back, were we presented with information regarding the amount of revenue generation for Southwest Kansas versus other areas of Kansas? And weren't we way ahead of everybody else?
Yep.
I mean, I would think that would be a direct correlation between,
That's why I keep on including these, because there's lots that you can do GDP per traffic, you can do GDP per capita, and Western Kansas by far outpaces Eastern. And besides like Johnson County and Sedgwick County, all of Southwest Kansas, if you look at per unit of whatever you want to measure, we're off the charts. So any of these times that they talk about these little things, we should be doing really well in them, but we're not. So we need to figure out what's going on in that, and saying that it's a black box and it's a proprietary system doesn't cut it. I mean, if that's their answer, then we need to make sure that KDOT uses something that's actually transparent and they can explain what's going on. So, we'll see, we're working on it. I mean, overall, the IKE process has been better to Western Kansas than what we had in the decades before it. So, I mean, we are getting progress, so I don't want to say that we're not doing things, because I mean, they're actively talking about dividing the highway basically from the airport out to Cimarron. I mean, that's in the pipeline. That hasn't happened. That should have happened in the 80s, and it hasn't happened until just recently with this IKE process. So it's good. The things that we're complaining about are things where we see there are room to improve, specifically in the scoring system, which is all just math. And so it's kind of easy to say, hey, we need to work on making our math a little bit better. But
And I think that the meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was for future projects. I think 20, 25 and on, is that correct? Was that even,
Yeah, the way they've set this up now is that they do the consults more often, and so they have rolling scores to go back at.
So those of you that attended that, that was a pretty good session. I thought people from Southwest Kansas were very vocal. I think they got some points across. Did they get it? What they needed, I don't know for a fact, but I think the truck traffic is something that is drawing a lot of attention. I made the fact to mention that with empirical coming online, that in the session that I attended, there were 5 sessions, I think, 6 sessions. They split them out, and in the one that I attended, I said the empirical is going to have trucks coming from all parts of Nebraska, Iowa, Colorado, Kansas, coming in to get their meat processed at empirical, and then Texas, Oklahoma, all of that coming here, and then going out once it's processed. So it's going to increase the truck traffic in the future. So I said they need to make sure they're keeping an eye on that. So, and who knows what else will take place. I mean, with the plant in Dodge, the cheese, there's going to be more trucks coming in and out of there. So I hope they consider us in Southwest Kansas. But I thought it was a good, well-attended for Southwest Kansas, and those communities are passionate about their highways just like we are. So.
Well, and I think we're starting to see the benefit of the work that Shannon and the city and our office have put into this, because the whole idea of these consults is they basically bring you into a room and make you fight it out over who gets a project, right? And instead, now, what you hear is a pretty concerted voice saying, this isn't about a project in Dodge or a project in Garden or Liberal or Colby. This is about our region needs investment, period. And that, they've said for years, Matt has done a tremendous job of bringing together this region when it comes to KDOT especially, and really having that singular voice. And KDOT has said, 4 years, boy, that's amazing. You're the only district who does that. To Matt's point, the last consult, not this one, but the one previous, that said, and what has that gotten us? you know, what, we appreciate, you appreciate us, but we still don't have any projects. So it's very exciting to see that we're getting some leverage, and you know, we cannot overstate the fact that they're now listing 83 as 4-lane expressway instead of passing lanes. They have heard us in the comments that passing lanes are actually probably going to decrease the safety of our highways, simply because you'll have trucks duking it out and cars trying to make sudden moves that they shouldn't be trying to make. So it is very, very refreshing to have them at least listening to us. And I would tell you, none of this would have been possible without the work of the city, our office, and obviously Shannon's data to tell the story.
When you talk to people from KDOT, is it an individual or is it a committee or?
All of the above. Shannon Francis, Representative Shannon Francis from Liberal, is the chair of the Transportation Committee in the House. He has been a good listener. I think, yeah, as is typical in the legislature, when we get folks from the western half of the state who raise up into committee leadership positions and such, they tend to quickly develop we aren't going to get these projects, but if we're supportive of this other stuff, then they'll throw us some bones, kind of a thing. Shannon has absolutely come out as a leader, though, now that he has some pretty solid data to take back with him. And, you know, I don't think there's anything nefarious in this. I really don't. I don't think KDOT is intentionally trying to, you know, make us look bad here and take projects away from us. It's simply a matter of educating them. And they don't know. They don't drive these highways, you know? And so for them, it's just numbers that they're putting into a spreadsheet, and whatever pops out of that spreadsheet, okay, that must be what it is. Any of us would probably have the same reaction if we didn't know. And so I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's anybody trying to be mean to us, if you will. But yes, as far as who we talk with, the secretary, you know, Julie Lorenz, the former secretary, was tremendous to work with. She was very engaged in the day-to-day and wanted to actually talk to the communities herself. And we're seeing that now too, which is exciting to have that same level of interest. And, you know, KDOT's got some staff that has been there decades. You know, Steve has some incredible relationships with the folks at KDOT. So we can't complain, you know, about getting heard. It's just a matter of, you know, sorting through it all.
Is our bypass, I'll call it an extension, or is that still on the radar somewhere?
Yes,
Way out.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more obvious that we do not have a bypass
Yeah,
at
it's
this
just
point.
a
And I think it's
street.
really important that we start referring to that as what it is. It's just an arterial street now at this point. So we have to continue to remind them that all of the things they measure, safety, economic output, commuter traffic, all of those things are being held up because we don't have a bypass.
You are right. I came from Dodge the other day, and this truck had a bunch of people, and they all tried to make it, and 3 of them went past the turning lanes. Yeah. Because they're wanting to get past.
Yeah, it's scary.
They should.
Shannon, thank you for your information. Any additional questions for Shannon? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Shannon.
On to new business. You mentioned March empirical site visit at some point, so that was something that I was going to bring up. So thank you for checking into that. Appreciate that. Any old business, any additional new business? I'm sorry. Any additional new business that we need to discuss?
What firms are interviewing for the construction manager on the Sligo station?
We haven't received their
It's
Old business. Do you have any additional, we have any new old business that we need to discuss? Okay. I'm going to mention the future meeting dates, or remember that we changed those dates from our regular scheduled meeting in November to November the 15th. And then our December meeting will be on December the 20th. And then we also have the October 30th, fifth week meeting with the city, county, and public officials on the 30th here at over the noon hour. So please make sure you attend if you can. We have a need for executive session.
You do.
Okay.
15 minutes should be fine.
15? Okay.
Oh, the other thing I would remind you, sorry, we didn't put it on your upcoming events. Kohl's will be having their grand opening November 3rd, 8:30.
Yeah.
So, long awaited, maybe you'll hear the angels start singing or something, since that seems to be the
Choir will
project
be
of the decade.
Choir will be out.
But it is exciting, very exciting to get
That's the first I've heard my voice described as angels.
sorry.
On me.
All right, and don't forget to attend the Canimac thing if you have the opportunity. I think they've got some good stuff going on out there.
They did a really nice.
That's just an open house all day long.
It's 11 to, I don't remember now.
I think it's like 3 o'clock or something like that. I'm not maybe not even that long. They're serving lunch, yeah.
They are serving lunch.
Yes.
At 3 o'clock.
No. No. At lunch at lunch. There you go.
Let's see. 11:30 to 1:30.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. We were out there when they were just starting construction on that building. So.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right, with that, yes.
Just a side note, here we've had all these good growth events and that is taking place here in our area. But previous year, we went through a major drought. This spring, there's somewhere that it's just the opposite with the rain. Not, some of it falls on the city, some in the county, some in the state, but in all, a lot of great things are done, just like the city letting residents put things out on the curb to be picked up, so that all helps. But a lot of dead trees and shrubberies, whether it's people or industries, whatever, dead in water, there's all there. At the same time, older growth of things in front of the high school or wherever, that doesn't make good salesmanship for our area.
Yeah, there's certainly some some areas that need some attention. I know in talking with the arborists that are licensed here, they are just so busy. So a lot of the dead trees that you see standing are contracted to be removed. They just simply are overbooked and understaffed to get to them. So I visit with 2 of the arborists that have said, we're doing everything we can. We just can only do so much. And some of them are very large, very old trees. And, you know, obviously, it's probably best left to the professionals who have the proper equipment and so forth to deal with them. But yeah, I think mowing has definitely been a challenge this year. I've worked with 3 different clients who have large acreages that they're trying to get cleaned up and can't find anybody who's available. Everybody is either contract booked, with jobs they do every year, or they just simply don't have the time to get to them. So, agreed. There's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen, but yeah.
Some of them was just a matter of didn't get water.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Just didn't get water.
Yeah. For sure.
A lot of these weeds are sticking in the streets.
Maybe that's the problem.
We got some else to go at.
That might be the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that's always a problem, right? We either don't have enough rain or we have too much rain, and it doesn't seem like we're prepared either way. But yes, I appreciate your comments, and certainly that's one of the things that we've always been able to take a lot of pride in, especially within the city of Garden City. We hear comments consistently about the investments that we've made to make our community attractive. So certainly understand. I guess the good news is we notice when it's not well kept because we're used to it being very well kept. So, yeah.
All righty, so do I hear a motion to go into, well, to adjourn and go into executive session? Terry moves, I hear a second.
I'll second it.
Got a second. Going into executive session for approximately 15 minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, going into executive session. Thank you, everybody, for attending.